Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Cruncher with another installment of Mutant Monday, and this week we will be finishing up our look at the various chapters of Ten of Swords as the final three chapters have come out. However, next week we will be doing another Ten of Swords related Mutant Monday, namely just kind of based on mainly just kind of like final closing thoughts, so to speak, on the story. So, where we left off at the end of chapter 19, the last duel was set to begin. That duel being between Annihilation and Apocalypse. And so, the story is picked up in X-Men number 15, part 20 of Ten of Swords. We begin on Krakoa. Jean Grey takes Cyclops to see the Quiet Council, and he tells them what Cable told him after his bout was over, and before Saturnine cut him off. In Otherworld, the duel between Apocalypse and Annihilation begins. However, Genesis removes the Annihilation helmet, and the fight between her and between husband and wife. On Krakoa, Cyclops explains what's happened, what he's been told, and while some members of the council are with him on this, others are not. And in fact, a lot of the council does make some very good points. Exodus, for example, explains that while it's not a bad plan, Cyclops is assuming success without accounting for what it might cost if he were to fail. And Cyclops, honestly, Exodus makes a really good point, though Cyclops bats it away with well-learned bravado, as Magneto puts it, as he's the mutant who has yet to fail the council. But he adds, they're not going to talk him out of it. He's going, no matter what. Jean, Nightcrawler, and Kate all volunteer to go. However, Sebastian Shaw explains that they probably can't afford to allow any of them to go. And he makes a good point, and most of the council actually agrees. So it becomes... And so Shaw simply says it's so. If anyone joins Scott on his fool's errand, they're no longer part of the council. And so Jean quits the Quiet Council. Nightcrawler attempts to, however, Jean tells him to stay and and do what he can to be the soul of the place. Kate's down, but Cyclops tells her that explains that they are traveling through a gate, and well, Kate and the gates don't get along. Though Emma does explain that Cyclops really shouldn't lie to Kate like that and asks to come, but Cyclops, one, knows she's staying and tells her this telepathically, but he verbally tells her that, just like with this, we need you to stay here on the council. But the also Emma is sending help, though, in the form of the Stepford Cuckoos. And then the council votes to close the gates as soon as Scott leaves for Otherworld. And he gives a speech to the council as the fight between Genesis and Apocalypse rages, and in fact, Genesis scores first blood, getting Apocalypse right about here. As Jean and Scott leave the council chamber, it's very clear that both Cyclops and Magneto are immensely proud of Scott for what he's done. We then get a write-up about Krakoan government, the Foundation, an organizational report prepared in the week following Krakoan independence. At the formation of the Quiet Council as the ruling body of Krakoa, the divisions of mutantdom, of society, were baked in to permit the naturally occurring fractions of competing ideologies, and the Quiet Council represents the best efforts of mutant elders to produce a government that is wholly representative of the citizens of our nation. The summer, spring, winter, and autumn seats represent not only a cross-section of personalities and belief systems, but also a psychological spread of predictable mutant responses to internal and external conflicts. It is our hope that through this we can control disharmonious and unnecessary aggression that could possibly work against the best interests of Krakoa. To that end, only the Force Protocol of a national surveillance and defense apparatus will be allowed to operate as a fully functioning first strike mechanism, X-Force. We will establish a group of great captains to act as the military leaders in times of national need or in response to a time of conflict or war. There's a note that the only exception to this is Krakoa itself and its voice Cypher, who stand outside the governance of the mutant nation. There's an additional note regarding the X-Men. Furthermore, it is the suggestion of this body that the familiar moniker of the Xavier School should be eliminated. The Council sees no need and only potential complications in the continued acceptance and use of the name X-Men as an active term implying agents of mutantdom. It is in the best interest of Krakoa and all mutants if the only authority and higher representation rests entirely with the Quiet Council. This delicate work we do, we cannot afford the slightest societal crack. From this day forward, the X-Men are no more. As a note, the familiarity of the term X-Men makes its use unavoidable, as it is often used freely, though incorrectly, interchanged with the term mutant, especially among human allies and adversaries, or used to add a patina of mutant nobility to an individual who is already part of a noble race. It is therefore, in the short term, best practice to simply ignore its usage while we transition away from the old models of celebrated mutant paragons. Back in Otherworld, the duel continues, and Genesis breaks Scarab with the Twilight Blade, and it asks if Apocalypse will yield. He states that he will not yield, not to fear, not to doubt, and not to love, before disarming Genesis and damn near cutting her in half with the Twilight Sword. She asks that he finish her before the shame kills her, and he explains that the shame would be warring for thousands of years to see her again, and this be the end of it. He tells Saturn this is not what he wants, and she explains she supposes that would matter if one were to care about needs and wants, and even if she did, the day demands a victor. Things must be settled. However, Genesis is not the only entity that Apocalypse was fighting. He also had to face Annihilation, and the helmet demands that Genesis put the helm back on. And she said, and Annihilation then states that things are a long way from settled. She is not dead. She has not yielded. Nothing is settled. Nothing. And so the issue ends with a quote from Apocalypse. All my choices have led me to this. I regret nothing and I accept where this road leads. Which brings us to the penultimate chapter of the crossover in Excalibur number 15, chapter 21 of Ten of Swords. We begin with a quote from Saturnine. Spellcasting is the art of directing magic with one's willpower. As such, magic is very eager to respond to the hearts of those in need. Mistake your desires for true desperation, and a spell will teach you a lesson. And magic is a harsh teacher. In the Starlight Citadel, one of Saturnines' attendants grabs a box full of crystal shards. Outside, the X-Men are bravely facing off against the combined forces of Amenth and Arakko, while the fight between Annihilation and Apocalypse continues. However, Storm does at least somewhat buy them some time by hitting Annihilation with a lightning blast. Apparently things have gotten chaotic, and the White Sword says that what's about to happen is foolish. And he then adds that the White Sword then adds that he and his men came for a battle, or didn't come for a battle, they came for a fight. And they won their fight. And so they head out. Then Bay the Blood Moon rushes toward the Krakoan lines, leading her allies to believe she has forsaken them. At the Starlight Citadel, the priestesses and attendants of Saturnine are preparing for a siege, and Saturnine has brought the box full of crystal shards, which look to be the shards of Captain Britain. Outside, the battle rages. And Bay the Blood Moon shows up, then promptly runs off with Cypher. All while Saturnine tries to reconstruct Captain Britain with the crystal shards. The battle continues outside. It is not going well for the X-Men. And then Jubilee and the Priestesses of the Green arrive to provide some much-needed backup, and also to help rescue Shogo from Saturnine. Elsewhere, Cypher and Bay have a discussion. Basically, she wanted to get him out of the. Basically, she wanted to get her love out of the way of the battle. He basically said, "Hey, look, my friends need you," and he talks her into helping. The battle continues, and finally, the shards are put back together. However, Saturnine is shocked to discover that it is not the form of Brian Braddock that has been reformed, but rather the form of Betsy Braddock. And the Captain Britain Corps is reborn. We get a write-up called a love spell. To restore the heart's true protector, to be cast in time of need. Components: a lock of hair from the intended, stardust collected during highest perigee, the shattered heart of a great desire. Procedure. At the west-facing front of the tallest structure reachable by the caster, step Widdershins round whilst summoning thy intent. The height from which the spell is cast is proportional to the power of its use, but beware and keep your eyes open. Many beasts seek lovers as prey and feed in high places. Cast the lock of hair away. Collect a pure heart shattered in time of greatest need. These can be difficult to obtain in a trying world, but can be prepared in advance by the caster if they cannot be found. It is a cruel, heartless thing to shatter one's greatest hopes for the love of another, but those unlucky in love are often willing to sacrifice. When your desire is greatest, assemble the shattered pieces. They will take the form of the heart's true protector. Be patient and await your answer. Warning. Love spells are typically cast by the young and foolish, and their inexperience and lack of power is often a blessing when the spell goes awry. Powerful casters are encouraged to utilize better judgment and other methodologies before resorting to love spells, as the backlash can be great. Do not confuse true desperation with the ego of desire. And that is where the issue ends. Which brings us to the finale. In Ten of Swords, Destruction. Begin with another quote from Apocalypse. I will carry these burdens forever, and if not forever, then until the day I die. In the Starlight Citadel, there's still one card that Saturn has not yet drawn from her tarot deck. The battle is not going well between the X-Men and the forces of Amenth and Arakko. However, they're about to receive a great number of reinforcements in the form of the newly formed Captain Britain Corps. Though not all of them are as successful of immediately arriving allies. And so Annihilation says to War that the mutants have called down a host to war against them. They've summoned an army, so War, summon ours. And so War summons forth an army of summoners who then proceed to summon eldritch horrors from beyond. The fight continues between Annihilation and Apocalypse, and it does appear as though Scarab has been reforged. And then Cyclops telepathically contacts Magic. With the aid of the Stepford Cuckoos and Jean Grey. And she ends up making a massive portal, allowing for the Point to cross over. We get somewhat of a look of who all has come with Jean and Scott, and well, let's just say it's going to be a very quiet night on Krakoa, I think, because everyone's in Otherworld. Got Iceman, Beast, Archangel, Bishop, Wildside, Wolfsbane, Dupe, Prestige, Dakin, Armor, Danny Moonstar, Magma, Polaris, Rogue, M, Gambit, Forge, Skin, Domino, Warpath, Gwenpool. And that's just the ones I can definitely pick. Oh, Quentin Quire, Richter, Pixie, Glob Herman, and I think that's just the ones I can definitively pick out. There are likely a lot more. But this turns the tide. The fight continues between Apocalypse and Annihilation. Annihilation is able to knock Apocalypse back for a moment, and then orders the summoners to summon all of Darker Amenth. Every beast, every demon, summon it all. And even greater eldritch horrors pour through a gate. Cable and Saturnine have a brief discussion, and Saturnine asks what card it was that Cable was given, or was dealt, and he explains the Fool. And she says, yes, a fool with a sword, and only a fool would think that is what he is actually holding. And so he has Cyclops, Jean, and Ileana come and get him, and teleport him inside the point. And he powers the reactor back up. And what were they called? The Viscora pour through, attacking the summoners, and truly turning the tide for Krakoa. The duel between Apocalypse and Annihilation continues, and he pulls the helm of Annihilation off of his wife, and the battle stops, and all look to him as Apocalypse tries to basically he kind of has a battle of wills with the helmet before he puts it on. But it turns out the Viscora are not just destroying the mages of Araco and Amenth, but also tearing at the fabric of the world itself. Also, it appears they have turned Iska the Unbeaten. Apocalypse fights with the Helm of Annihilation, and then opts to surrender to Saturnine. And so Saturnine flies down to meet Apocalypse on Shogo, using Shogo's Dragonfire to get rid of the foot soldiers of the Viscora and Araco and Amenth. But Saturnine pulls the helm off of Apocalypse and remakes it into a banner, which she then gives back to Genesis. And so, as decided, that she requires one mutant from each side to leave their own land and live with the enemy. Apocalypse volunteers himself to do so. And then picks Araco to be the mutant that lives in the land of Krakoa. Which surprises Saturnine. And so the two groups head back. Apocalypse has a message delivered to Magneto and Professor X via Cyclops that he will see them again someday. We then get a write-up on the swords of Araco and the swords of Krakoa. Vermilion. How hot is hate? How much more brightly does the blade of war burn? Enough to light the entirety of the Great Hall of Amenth. Location, Stronghold of Amenth. Purity. The war never ends, the blade never grows dull. Drink deeply of demon blood quenched in the rivers of Amenth. The white sword endures. Location, Ivory Spire, Amenth. Colony. Claimed by the void, unformed, unsummoned. Location, unknown, Otherworld. Alluvium. Captured along with its wielder. Location, the Crooked Market, Otherworld. Muramasa. The Muramasa blade remains in the possession of Solom, a thirsty blade that will not long be apart from its twin. Location, unknown. Earth. The Black Bone of Amduat. Captured along with its wielder. Location Sebelith. Otherworld. Seducer. Everything is fine. Nothing's going to change. Mutants get married all the time. Kiss the blade, Doug. Learn to love it. Location Krakoa, Earth. Mercy. The blade of the Omega Mutant Mercy sits in judgment at the head of the Great Rain. Location Araco. Pog or Pog. Sword for hire, don't screw around. Adventures are imminent and these deals won't last long. Location Pod or Pog. Amenth. And finally, the Twilight Blade. Abandoned on the field of battle, stolen in the chaos of war. Who claimed the Twilight Blade and what darkness grows in their heart? Location unknown. Otherworld. This is for the Swords of Krakoa. Soul Sword, rightful blade of the ruler of Limbo, remains in possession of the mutant Captain Magic. A worthy blade of a worthy champion. Location Krakoa, Earth. Muramasa remains in possession of Wolverine, a thirsty blade that will not long be apart from its twin. Krakoa, Earth. Skybreaker, even after its return, the wounds of the celebrated blade of the nation of Wakanda remain unhealed. Wakanda, Earth. Warlock Sword. Everything is fine, nothing's going to change, mutants get married all the time. We're going to be best friends forever. Location, Krakoa, Earth. Light of Galador. The alien bladed cable will continue to power the sword station above Earth until a replacement igniter can be found/constructed. Location, Sword, Earth. Sword of Might. The blade of Brian Braddock, Prince of Avalon, Defender of the Realm, remains ever ready to defend the Monarch's throne. Location, Avalon, Otherworld. Starlight Sword. The celebrated ceremonial blade of a member of the Captain Britain Corps. The remains of the shattered blade of Betsy Braddock rest in the Starlight Citadel. Summoning mosaic of the otherworldly Knight of Saturnine. Location, the Starlight Citadel, Otherworld. Scarab Blade, shattered/broken. Pieces buried on the scarred battlefield beneath the home of Saturnine. Location, Starlight Citadel, Otherworld. Grass Cutter and God Killer. The twin blades of mutant Captain Gorgon were carried home to Krakoa where they wait for their master to claim them. After a corrupted resurrection, will he reclaim them or reject them? Location, Krakoa, Earth. We then get a write-up on the reformed Captain Britain Corps. Following the reformation of the remnants of the Starlight Sword and the completion of Saturnine's Right, the Captain Britain Corps found itself reformed and restored to its former glory once again in the hands of a brave Braddock. As the Knight of the Starlight Citadel, Captain Britain and the Omniversal Majestrix are forever bound. However, the re-establishment of the Corps seems to have come with a sacrifice. The brave captain took it in hand with enough power to restore her order has been shattered in Saturnine's game, and is still missing. Unaccounted for is Captain Britain, Betsy Braddock of Seat 616, aka Captain Britain Prime. Present, we have Seat 6, Captain Britain, Beth Braddock. Jessica Druidica on Seat 14. Captain Britain, Alexander Braddock, Seat 15. Captain Amphibian, Seat 22. Alpha Britain, Seat 33. Sister Britain, Seat 65. Captain Krakowica, Seat 78. The Green Woman, Seat 99. Captain Angland, Seat 305. Captain Albion, Seat 523. Captain Britain, Liz Braddock, Seat 812. Captain UK, Seat 839. Captain Bretland, Seat 904. Captain Gran-Breton, Seat 1812. Captain Plumdragon, Seat 2112. High Priestess Celestia, Seat 2113. Crusader X, Seat 2122. Centurion Britannia, Seat 4100. Captain Baboon, Seat 8101. The Violet Swan, Seat 8311. Elspeth Braddock, Seat 13059. Britannica Rex, Seat 99476. That's just a few. We then catch back up with Saturnine and her attendant. And the attendant's wondering if, there was really anything that actually surprised Saturnine. Or did she just see it? Did she already know how things were going to turn out? And she explains she didn't see all of it. This is, after all, a multiverse. And one must accept a certain amount of randomness when ruling the other world. But there were some signs impossible not to read, which does very much strike me as a bit of a bit of meta commentary, because there were a few things that were pretty clear. Like, as soon as we learned of Apocalypse's wife, oh yeah, they're gonna. Especially when we learn that Apocalypse's wife is Annihilation. It's like, oh, yeah, they're going to fight. But among the signs that couldn't be ignored, that were impossible to not read, husband and wife will be pitted against each other and be reunited at no small cost, as would mother and child. The 10th sword would descend from heaven only to return at the dawn of a new age. The 9th sword will be returned to his rightful home, deep in the rumbling earth, while the goddess turns her eyes to the stars. She saw those mutant council would break, the first two cracks in that firmament. Of course, those are all things that concern her little, if at all. What matters most are the matters of the court. She adds that Avalon soon controlling the sole ingress and egress to Earth, a necessary distraction for its mutant king. The coming and going of actors both foul and fair. And of her own fair and foul kingdoms, she has seen fit to make Blightspoke useful to her. Summoners attain the things that refuse to die there, the scorer to mine the untold riches hidden in the strata of dead universes. The bartering of which will dominate the wild plans and bent mind of the one who runs the crooked market, Jim Jaspers. Meanwhile, the relentless after the undying lands of Sevalith will be sated by Death himself. As for the others, she has means of controlling them. She has other means of controlling them. But while she's quite pleased with the return of the Captain Britain Corps, there's one small thing she wishes: that these Captain Britons were in the image, the multiversal image of the Captain Britain that she is obsessed with, the former Captain Britain, Brian Braddock, who was present at the ceremony, along with as a representative of the Kingdom of Avalon. And that is where the issue and the story ends. That's it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.